dumbest bill in America, which is causing the great California exodus. Yes, there's a massive California exodus because of all the taxes and all the craziness in California and all of the interruption of commerce in California. And this dumbest bill, which is causing that California exodus, in part at least, comes out of the Berkeley City Council, and it's called the Healthy Checkout Ordinance. So the Healthy Checkout Ordinance, get this, means exactly what it says, which is in Berkeley, the City Council, Berkeley, California, the City Council passed an ordinance that stops and prohibits grocery stores from selling junk food and sweet beverages at the checkout counter. And instead, this City Council in Berkeley, California requires those grocery stores to replace the sweet and candy and sugary items with healthy ones instead. And it goes into effect next year in 2021, but it was just passed this year in 2020. So the person who is the big mover and shaker in the Berkeley City Council to want this is Councilwoman Kate Harrison of Berkeley, California. And she, Kate Harrison, was interviewed by KPIX, which is a CBS affiliate, and there's a reporter, his name's Don Ford, and he has interviewed her. We have a series of clips on that. We're going to discuss these clips with Rick Manning because Rick is a former Californian. He's part of that great exodus from California. And first up, here's the clip. Here it is.
You know you wanted that last little impulse buy at the checkout stand, that candy bar or that soda. City of Berkeley says they're going to put a stop to that. It's a temptation too strong to control, they say. Something had to be done.
Last night, the Berkeley City Council unanimously passed the Healthy Checkout Ordinance, the first in the world, to require that food right near the cash register be healthy choices.
Starting next March, stores larger than 2,500 square feet must have only wholesome food for you to look at while waiting
So
to
there
check
you
out.
go. So good old Councilwoman Kate Harrison is telling those big bad stores that they're selling sugary things at the checkout counter, and that's really bad, so they're going to stop them. So this is part of the great exodus from California because every jurisdiction in California, including, of course, the state of California itself, they keep passing these laws. I think here's what I think is happening. They're running out of things to do. They're running out of new ideas. So they're coming up with ideas that now reach into the inside of your business and where you put things on shelves. I mean, have you ever heard anything this crazy? Rick Manning, former Californian?
Well, actually, no, but it's not that far different from the snack tax that Maryland considered and other states have, because ultimately what they're trying to do is they're trying to dictate behavior, and they want to force you to do what they want you to do. And it doesn't matter if you need a candy bar because you're diabetic. It doesn't matter what's going on. It's bad for you because they determined it. Because you're not smart enough to know that when you look at the label and it's 240 calories, that you don't really need the 240 calories on the Milky Way because you're just too dumb to know that. And oh, by the way, you're also not responsible enough because after all, if you die 5 years earlier because you smoke a cigarette or you do something really crazy like that, you are not of your own. You don't have a right to do that because your life is theirs.
It belongs to them.
It belongs to them, and they justify by saying, we pay for the health care. Well, no, you shouldn't be paying for the health care. That's why we got to stop socialized medicine. But that's a different story.
So KPIX, which is the local TV station in Berkeley, California, the reporter Don Ford continues to ask Councilwoman Kate Harrison of Berkeley, California, about her ordinance. And he challenges her, of course, like most reporters, they don't challenge Democrats ever, really, truly. But we have a clip on that, the next clip, and here it is.
Who are you to tell me what I can buy and not buy?
You can buy anything you want. You just can't buy it within 2 feet of the cash register. So it's right behind you. If you really want that thing, go ahead.
So the Healthy Checkout Ordinance, actually, it was unanimously approved by the Berkeley City Council, and it requires stores that are over 2,500 square feet, which is pretty much all of the stores that sell groceries, that is, that at least 25 square feet of healthy items must be sold within a 3-foot radius of the checkout register. Do you know what's interesting about this? Is food companies, including candy companies and soda companies, they actually pay for that space.
Right.
So yeah, they're selling their stuff, and you think that, oh no, it's the grocery store that's ordering it and deciding to put it there, in part, but it's also because these manufacturers of candy and so forth actually pay an affirmative dollar amount to rent the space.
The reason you have low cost for your groceries is because General Mills pays to have Cheerios on an end cap, and they pay money for placement. They pay money to have it on the third row where your eyes see it, as opposed to on the top row where it's hard to reach. The placement in stores matters, and they charge for it. And oh, by the way, that's why you pay less money at the register. So when you sit there and they take away one of the places that you can actually make money in a store, it's not the price of candy that goes up, it's the price of everything that goes up. And that is the untold story about how grocery stores actually work, is they sell their space. Imagine that. It's like, think if you're a landlord, okay? And you got this beautiful place right on the bay, and you got another one that's like a little dinky spot that nobody wants to be. Okay, are you going to charge the same amount for those two spaces? No, you're not. You're going to charge a lot more money on the.
Some real estate is more valuable than other real estate.
And in a store, real estate that is on the bottom shelf and the top shelf is less valuable than real estate that's on the middle shelves. And real estate that's on the end caps is more valuable. And real estate that's on the register. Do you think that the sugar they provide you in the magazines that are sitting there, that are really bad for your brain, do you think that they're put there because, gee whiz, we think that somebody wants to have those magazines? No, they pay for the spot.
So Kate Harrison said in a local paper when interviewed, she said, placement of unhealthy snacks near a register increases the likelihood that customers will purchase those foods and drinks when willpower is weak at the end of a long shopping trip. That's what she said, City Councilwoman Kate Harrison. It's like, I'm sorry, you have to pass a bill for this? Do you have nothing else to do in Berkeley, California than to micromanage how businesses operate in Berkeley?
Well, maybe she should have taken a clue that since this is the first in the world, that maybe everybody else rejected as being stupid. And say, but she's very proud, first in the world. Well, there's a lot of really bad ideas that were rejected by a lot of other people, and it doesn't make you first; it may make you the dumbest.
Absolutely. So she continues to say, Kate Harrison, the councilwoman from Berkeley, she says in this article, the idea of healthy checkout is that it offers parents more opportunities to say yes to their kids. And it also helps us to re-envision what treats are. So that was also said by Holly Schneider, a member of Berkeley's Sugar Sweetened Beverage Commission. They have a commission on Berkeley on sugar sweetened beverages.
Everybody needs a government. Everybody needs a government job, Mark.
So, it's about, you don't want to say no to your children. That's the classic liberal thing. So I said this the other day. So what we should have is, instead of chocolate bars and Milky Way bars, as you said, we should have trophies. So I'm sorry, I'm going to say no to the candy bar, but here's a trophy.
But it wouldn't be fair because some trophies are shinier or better, and so that wouldn't be fair. So you have to make certain that all the trophies, no matter what, are all cost the same, or better yet, are free. So everybody can get a trophy. In fact, they ought to take the non-disposable bags, the ones that have all this, that end up having all the COVID in them and are really dangerous right now. They ought to take those non-disposable bags and they ought to include a free trophy with every purchase, so the child has something to walk away with, and the parent can say yes to their children.
So like General Mills and the cereal, a free trophy.
A free trophy.
You won.
The next time a kid spends his or her time in the vegetable aisle, sitting there looking longingly at a radish, will be the first time. So they are. So let's just put those radishes up there, and you'll guarantee that nobody buys anything from those spots. By the way, what you would do, and it's anybody who's had a kid knows this. How every single parent has had to deal with a kid who's sitting on the floor in a grocery store crying because they want something.
Yes,
typically.
Exactly.
When I was a kid, they
want to eat it that second too.
When I was a kid, there were toy sections, little toy sections, and there were like plastic soldiers and and airplanes and stuff like that. And my mom told me when I was 16 that I had to get up off the floor and quit crying over that balsa.
You were 16.
Balsa with airplane. It was that I had to give it up.
So you know what? This is part of what's causing the great California exodus, because we're calling this dumbest bill in America. Really, it's the Great California Exodus, which is what the Berkeley Healthy Checkout Ordinance is helping to cause. Not solely, we know that, but it's the cumulative bills that are coming through the state of California and all the local governments and local counties and so forth that are pushing through these ideas. They have run out of ideas of bills that really do help people's lives. And they've decided to just cross that line and try to dictate every aspect of human life. You're a former Californian. What are you hearing about this big exodus?
Well, first of all, I was a trendsetter. I left in '84. I want to make it clear that when I left there, you had all Republican government, and it was still a paradise. So I left. The people I left behind, I entrusted it to. They screwed it up. Okay, so let me be clear, not my fault. But here's the thing. Yes, people are moving from California. People are moving from California because of high taxes.
The crazy politicians.
And the crazy politicians. I'll just give you a simple example. And this is baseball, okay, because I'm a big California Angel baseball fan.
Oh, boy.
Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim, whatever they're called these days. And they have this player named Mike Trout. And Mike Trout is the best player in Major League Baseball. And so Mike Trout signed a contract. It was like $36 million a year. Why did he get that much money? He's the best player in the history of baseball, okay? So he gets paid a lot of money. Fans want to see him. So
that's not fair. There's not an equal outcome there.
It's not equal outcome. Here's what Mike Trout, because he signed with the California Angels, pays 13% state's income tax. If he signed with the Florida Marlins, he'd pay 0%.
Zero.
He signed with Texas in one of the Texas teams, 0.
Zero, right?
But California set up a system which makes it's not good enough to get Mike Trout's money. Okay? If you play a baseball game and you happen to play for the Texas Rangers and you come to Anaheim and you play against my Angels, the players on the Texas team have to pay for that one game check 13%.
Oh my gosh.
Of their check.
My gosh.
And so now that's good news for Mike Trout because when he goes to Texas, he doesn't pay any. But it's bad news if you play for the Texans or for the Rangers, because not only do you have to live in Dallas, but you also have to pay 13% when you play in Oakland or
even when you're playing outside the state.
You're paying outside the state. And so that's how California gets you, whether or not you're actually live there or not. They find a way to tax you.
So what's interesting is I actually heard on TV recently as a California realtor, and the realtor said that he sells a house or she sells a house. They go to closing in California. And unlike most closings in most states where the buyer ponies up the money, usually it's a mortgage company that's ponying up the money, and that money goes to the settlement agent and then the money is dispersed. In California, and then by the way, then the realtor gets their commission from the settlement company. In California, the settlement company actually takes out from the realtor's commission the income tax that is owed to the state at that particular time. In other words, the state is so hungry for revenue.
Independent contractors are treated like they are, in fact, employees and get their money.
That's second.
Withholding immediately.
Whereas most states, it's the end of the year, or
you pay estimated taxes
15th.
every quarter. You pay estimated taxes every quarter based on that, and it's California also.
But that would be quarterly. In California, they want it that second.
California also passed a law which made Uber drivers and Lyft drivers into employees.
They're employees, which is absurd. They're not employees.
Well, they're not employees, but not only that, Uber and Lyft are now saying we're not going to do business in California. So
they shouldn't.
I think about it. The entirety of the gig society, the gig employment society, where you're able to go off and do an Airbnb, you do all this kind of stuff, is based upon the brilliance of the internet and the capacity to exchange product information. And so you can actually turn your car, if you need to have money to feed
into
your
a small
kid,
business.
You can turn your car into a small business and supplement your income. You have to pay taxes on it, but you pay as an independent contractor. In California, you're not allowed to. In fact, they discovered that's a problem.
They're trying to do a lot of legislative fixes now.
They're trying to do legislative fixes because there's all these people who are in the gig economy who are now really mad because they don't have their gig anymore. And and guess what? Those people quite honestly, many of them probably voted in the very people who took it away. So it's their own darn fault.
So get this. So Berkeley, California, we're talking about the healthy checkout ordinance, and we're talking about Berkeley, California City Councilwoman Kate Harrison. I just want you to hear this, Rick, because you know about all these crazy politicians in California. We have a final clip from Kate Harrison where she talks about why she was running for Berkeley City Council. And she, of course, puts some really interesting soft Marxist language in there, which, of course, they actually are quite serious about this, this whole Marxism thing in Berkeley, but I think actually statewide in California. Listen to this clip and you'll see.
Why am I running is to continue the progressive movement that we started in Berkeley. Berkeleyans embraced a progressive agenda, not just a set of policy ideas, not just a bunch of policy prescriptions, but an idea of who's in charge of the city. Is it private developers? Is it private interests? Or is it us?
Yeah, those pesky private interests, that
private interests, yeah, that's like the voters. Yeah. They have private interests because they don't want to pay all their money to taxes, and they want to drink a big soda, and they want to be able to get a candy bar once in a while. And peanuts might not be that good either because somebody might be allergic to them. So we've got to eliminate everything from the snack aisle. They're totalitarian.
People are too stupid.
They're totalitarian fools. And quite honestly, that's where Haight and Ashbury Street are, where the drug culture started. And unfortunately, many of those people never left. Now they're on the city council.
Well, you should have seen the people in the audience when she was announcing why she was running, because they all looked really like concerned, but at the same time, they looked like dazed and confused.
Yeah, they just came from Haight and Ashbury, the corner of Haight and Ashbury.
So let's hear some final thoughts on why there is a great California exodus. We've told the podcast listeners about this stupid bill in Berkeley. But just what is your gut on this? Final thoughts.
A lot of Californians grew up in rural environments. They want to keep their money. They're actually not insane, and so they are moving to places like Idaho, Arizona, Texas, and they're moving en masse right now. My sister just moved to Arizona, and she moved for a very simple reason. She loves California. She moved for a very simple reason. The taxes were out of control, and they kept telling her what to do. And she said, I'm not going to live in an environment where I have to pay a lot of money to be told what to do. And it's
perfect.
So she left.
Perfect. And that is the last thought on Mark and the Millennials. Thank you for joining Mark and the Millennials. This is Mark Fisher. Thank you to Rick Manning of Americans for Limited Government. Fantastic podcast. And of course, our producer, Adam Couture, our assistant producer, Christopher Hopkins. Check us out on iTunes, Spotify, YouTube, Facebook, and our website. See you next time.